and how we're holding on to hope that the next year will be a better one. Well, I still want to continue on that streak, spreading positivity regardless of the difficult conversations that we're having on radio. So welcome once again to the program. Is right on our laps. So what would we do come 2026? What New Year resolutions are we going to have? Are we going to spill our New Year resolutions from 2025 into 2026? You have an opportunity. It seems today. So let 2026 be a signal of growth. The program is the situation. If it is happening, we're most definitely talking about things that happen that you might think, well, this doesn't concern me, but the ripple effect, the cascade, oftentimes affects you indirectly in many cases. And so you need, every time we come on here, we oftentimes seek the opinion of a friend. That's exactly what we'll be doing on today's edition of the Situation Room. There are two segments for today. First of all, we're going to talk about what's happening at the State Assembly. They are passing budgets so fast, you're wondering if they had any time to scrutinize the theories, etc. To report and drew our attention to personal financial audits cannot happen in 20. Looking at this budget, what are the consequences? What are the things we need to change? That would form the first aspect of the conversations. Discuss the ripple effect of the defense headquarters is saying, yes, we need because of our porous borders and we're working that bombing. Is it just this one time? What is going to be the plan to eradicate those who larger terrorist group are disseminated? But for now, we are going to be talking about budgets running into consequences of this horrid approach. Weak oversight, critical questions go unasked, and account oversight failure. Rethinking budget approval.
With you once again before the year runs out.
Of course. So you're like my last guest for the year. Well, maybe not my last guest. I have another one in 30 minutes, but you're one of my last guests.
It's the biggest master that calls that. So that steps. No, it's the biggest master that steps out of the cover last.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to review a state budget that's running in it. The governors have to as well to defend why they are requesting certain amount of to do an evaluation of budget, even for a state at that speed.
If you take an appropriation act, bill, and pass it into an act within 2 weeks. If you look at the numbers of MDAs and ministries, it's just man no man. Or we've already had that. When it comes to the State House of Assembly play, because it's like most people just go to the ruling party. Everything's about political consideration. They don't think about the people. They don't think about.
How much influence do you think state governors have on this process? Because the Constitution was wise when it's man, right? But then when you see things like this, where you return the Appropriation Act back to the governor for assent without adjusting anything, the way he sent it to the State Assembly is how they send it right back to him. Do you think that you voice them?
But when you see it as if having a stronghold, it's not a stronghold. I've said it. It's not that the governor, they're all in the budget so far by State House of Assembly is not seen as a budget of the people. It's just seen as a document of their party. Fascinating. On paper, they will tell you they've done their due diligence. On paper, 50 billion.
Generally, people would argue that if you are spending months debating and scrutinizing the Appropriation Act, you're wasting the time of the people. And so speed can be a positive thing. So do you think that this argument sort of...
It's fourth quarter of any year. I think by the third quarter of, and I don't know how you want to calculate the last month for plus or minus running on. For instance, I don't think it's wrong for any serious-minded government to have by December 20 whatever, even by November, because you are projecting for the new year, and you can use your outgoing year or the current is thoroughly interrogated, and you have a viable working document to show off. Where the governor will just wear his agbada or babariga, take now, have a photo of the speaker, shake hands, the guy takes a bow, you are presenting to the outgoing budget or to even advise, no remorse.
Oversight failure, rethinking budget approval at the state level. And as I said at the start, we are referencing passing it in less than 48 hours. And they're asking questions, how then do you check for duplicity? Do you scrutinize your budget properly in such short time. We're talking about all the factors that can come to play here. Is it influence? We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, so do well to join the live stream on mainland 98.3 FM. And you can even start to drop your comments in real. Even the Electoral Act, at least we know that for election litigation, for example, sort of timestamp on budget reviews, just
one thing I know about the statistical position, what is expected by what the law says and what have you. So even we don't need to make it rigid, cast in stone for us. And it's now politics, because I think once we can accept and embrace independent candidacy, promote or put forward popular people among the people on the mandate of the people. So if I'm popular, let's say I don't want to run, and as an independent candidate I can run on my own and I can run everything, I'll do my job as representative. I'll probably have it to still with the ongoing constitutional review and what have you, really our practices, because it should throw obedience to one person, or all of you have to be lord of the party. And for instance, let's use the Lagos for democracy. But what am I who they want? Because sometimes a guy is popular among the people, and all of a sudden the party doesn't give you the ticket, and you have to make the reward in Ghana is it and win. Let it become and you can start having it right. That's palliative. You are meant to make law, and the safety and the well-being of your people is the problem, and making sure your people have the right and get exposed and get the expected dividend of democracy and good governance. Aside with me, as long as I'm doing the party's bidding, I'll get re-elected. That has to stop. When it comes to executive rascality, executive reckless,
Demis, I'm going to reference a Punch report right now, but we don't look at the budget for the states. A lot of states, there was a report that came out, I can't remember the organization now, that said that at their own care of themselves, of all the 36 states in the FCC, there's probably 4 to 5 states. There's no viability whatsoever if they don't go cap in hand to take money from the center. In fact, the Punch report tells us that 10 states are planning 4.3 trillion naira borrowing to fund their 2026 budget. It means that without IGR that they clearly don't have, without going to the center for money, and without borrowing, that why are states even they get FAC? At least they should have a little bit of IGR. So why do we continue to see heavy borrowing in these states, and why do they
or more that's what you expected to him? Why can't you just plan your spending within just the craze for legacy projects? Your people just want the basic things of governance, and your perform Shagam Ikorodu Road was the point was being budgeted for, was captured as a federal project, was being budgeted for by the Ogun State government. In 2 years, 3.7 is happening, and there's a House of Assembly. The governor in the House of Assembly to boost food security. So what do you expect from that kind of assembly? The government calls up with everyone and please, as much as you know that the land is not vested, the power in you, the silver or everything, please. Take that to measure the output at the end of the day. So basically, what in 2075 our population was it captured in?
When the health of a state.
We are meant to hold the House of Assembly responsible.
Not the governor of the state.
Enshrined in Section 8022 of the Constitution. And when the governor is obviously out of order, once you spend outside the Appropriation Act, it's a bit of the get together in the financial
assembly should be held responsible. And I would like to give an example. I don't know if you saw the news this morning where members of the state Fᴜᴜ, and they said, well, you cannot just take money and send to us without letting.
Now, let's forget about the politics. Now, if there is a budget, whatever, the governor can hide under it. It still boils down to how there's a thing in Ijalo story. Maybe if the money was larger than that, you probably would not hear of it. Now, they are administrator for 6 months. That is still without a budget. And the Constitution did not give room for You have the sole administrator presenting the budget, or the sole administrator. God of is a quick one, In addition, I know that was my topic. You said about the one we had Operation Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, and Operation Sabri. Operation Desert Shield was to Kuwait. Operation Desert Storm, Operation Sabri was the mop-up of dissident opponents of that operation using the mop-up exercise. Across all areas of the average duration of the mop-up exercise is going to be 6 months. 6 months we should have results, or we should have a final report on the operations, or a preliminary report on by God's grace. I'll see you in the new year.
Of course, thank you so much. Well, there you have it, the first segment of the conversation here on the Situation Room. We spoke about something wrong with the budget. We've seen sometimes when we're asking questions about it, they start to demand that the press be sent out of the room. And then you saw what you've done with the money that was budgeted to you. And that Guardian report highlighted what goes on in the National Assembly, that the state assemblies are now starting to behave like the National Assembly, because a person is sent to you for scrutiny, for example, and the appointment is supposed to ask questions to verify if they're well suited for the role. And even when you question them, you start to ask questions that are absolutely irrelevant. When a bill is passed, you don't even debate it. How exactly are you supposed to that comes to your table? You've heard the opinion of the Yemi Saka. We're going to go on a brief break so we can usher in my second guest to neighboring towns.
You can do the right and you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault in a uniform that you bought with your own money to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We mainland 98.3 FM. We implore you to do better.
When the airwaves in your market and really stand out, Broken Air is here.
On mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
This is still the Situation Room on mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Well, now we are turning our attention to what happened in Sokoto State by the United States, or at least the United States-led airstrike in saw Mr. Tဃᴇ come out to say, well, yes, we did provide intelligence. We are in the know of these most interesting aspects. They've started to cripple to attack with full force. Just a suspension of violence. Hello? Insight into why this has become a very, very important conversation. We've seen cases where a larger terrorist group have been bombed, and then a few weeks later we start to see splinter cells, personnel and technology and resources, I'm talking physical resources, to tackle the aftermath of a bombing or the dissemination of a larger terrorist group. Alex Okonkwo, can you hear me? Hello?
In your market become more and more crowded. It's here.
On mainland 98.3.
We must rise to it. They are killing people in the east.
A new event. Old actors meet new ones, and a fresh all unfold right here in this across every sector of human concerns. Stay tuned to the Situation FM, the Situation Room. We are always watching.
That's why again say there. The eyes.
Oga Police, no worry, I see you. You know you can do the right thing, right? You know you can do with to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibility. And from mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you.
They are killing people in the east, in the west.
A new event. Old actors meet new ones, and a fresh twist adds up to the old subplot. And the grass suffers and the ground shakes. We are always plugged in, watching it all unfold right here in the Situation Room. Here, we bring together the main actors to take their turns on pressing issues, dissecting events as they from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, mainland 98.3 FM. The Situation Room. We are always watching.
That's why again say there. The eyes have it.
Thank you for being on standby. Sometimes technology. About the aftermath of the US-led airstrike and the fears of relocation and the consequences that would follow this relocation of bandits or terrorists, whichever you want to call them. Alex Okonkwo joins us now via the phone, and we want to talk about the concerns that have been raised. I really hope that this is what is happening. Hello? Okay, get your contribution. Speed at Union of Experts who are... Hello? Okay, I don't think this is really going to work out. I don't know what as states, there's absolutely no reason why you should borrow this heavily to fund your budget, because you get money from the federal government that you can use to generate money. So why then are you borrowing this much? And also, why is it that you're not even checking the budget? The governor sends you the appropriation bill, you do nothing, you don't ask any after a budget takes. How are you supposed to check for duplicity of project at the governor? And then we ask questions about how much influence really does the governor have. That's why whatever he sends as the Appropriation Act is exactly what they send back to the governor. Let's take our first call. Hello. 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 Okay. I cannot hear them, which is a tad absurd. 000-410, that's the number to dial. 0913-6000-4.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
And that is that the bad precedent has been set already. It has been going on in Lagos State for a very long time. So this thing has now been taken to the federal level. What is happening is that the governors, what they are doing is just to replicate what is happening, doing it at the federal level. At the governor, they have accountability. Nobody is asked to ever. So that is how we are going to continue until we start having people of integrity in power, people that are not fraudulent in nature.
Make sure we have that second conversation because it's very, very important. And so we're going to still try to reach Alex Okonkwo, but if that doesn't work out, we'll just continue taking your phone calls. Hello.
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. I'm really glad that we're...
Possibly 2026 in advance.
Thank you so much. So let's get straight into it. Now, based on what we know so far, would you attribute success to the airstrike that happened carried out a bombing operation in Sokoto State, and he has been able to disseminate a terrorist camp in Sokoto State? Based on the facts that we have on ground as a security expert, would you attribute success?
Well, there was no surprise there. I mean, everybody was waiting for the date of the attack because they had already announced it 2 months before. Of course, there's a difference in temporary setback for the bandits, so to say, because this area is covered by bandits, more also by ISIS fighters. So it's mostly bandit area. Bombarding them in their camps only sets them back temporarily. It can even become dangerous because they could now create splinter cells and spread across the country. So we need to see this word. And if anybody knows President Trump, he needs his words to follow with action. That gives him a lot of force within his country. It's more like, I would say, even beyond what it was mentioned in the statement by the government, the American government, that they are, and at the same time trying to do something, I would say, geopolitical tactics, because financially and economically in the Sahel, it is more like...
Local reports are telling us now that the surviving militants are fleeing into neighboring communities. There were reports that in Benue State they have seen an influx, and then there's fear. Do you think that this displacement would most likely lead to airstrikes like this happen? When bombings like this happen, there's supposed to be an immediate deployment of boots on the ground to do something called of these surviving militant or bandits or terrorists.
I would say we're most likely to expect more bombardment. So, I expect more of that. And then before we talk of the revenge, because what you are talking about is revenge in terms of the
attacks.
That will not be the first thing, because for now, temporarily, they are all a little bit, let me say, scared. I don't want to use that word, but that's for lack of the proper word. Because they are now seeing that Donald Trump can actually keep to his word. I'm talking about 2 months. It should be followed by more bombardment. Otherwise, there's nothing really to write home about that. And definitely, yes, you have already answered a little bit of the question by saying the revenge part of it is there. Don't forget, Lafarua is a group that was called by residents of Sokoto to come and support them at a stage that the government presence was not there. So the anger will be there, will be manifest at one point. Not immediately, because in their mind, they think that the Americans are still present. Probably not in Sokoto, but elsewhere in Nigeria, to send signs to bandit colleagues, let me put it that way. So that's what we were more than
barely hear you. There's an interruption with the connection there. If you'd like to go through that again.
Yes, I was saying the bandits will have also crossed back into states in the Sahel. So it is only after a while that they will come back to Nigeria.
Or harder to track them. It's easy to find a terrorist camp, right? But now that they have most likely split.
Yes, it will be far more difficult. That's what you said earlier in your first statement. We should have expected that in collaboration with the Nigerian part of it, we should have men on ground to actually do the actual chasing. Because I know that Americans definitely don't want to have soldiers on ground. They don't want to go through what happened in Somalia and some other places. Remember, after the Iraq war, they lost more soldiers after the war than during the war. Right. They are very good in that. They've been fighting the FARC for over 30 years. But Americans in general are not so good in that. When they're fighting over a long time, they don't necessarily like that. So they will use drones, they will use whatever. They have naval vessels all around the African coast. So definitely more bombardment will come. But in terms of men on the ground, we will have to depend on the Nigerian forces to do that particular aspect. Of course, under their supervision. But at the end of the day, it's still Nigerians that go to the forest. America, 16 Nigeria.
I really wish that we had that have been raised, that these individuals are relocating. What does this mean? Are we going to see a new form of violence? Are we going to see smaller groups forming to the cleanup? Because every time or any time an airstrike happens, it's expected that you have soldiers on the ground who finish up the job, because not every of these terrorists will be taken out by the bombing. So you need the future. Alex Okonkwo, are you here?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. This is much better. So let's talk about the fears that there might be long-term implications if we see a foreign military conducting strikes. At what point do we say, America, thank you so much, you've been a wonderful big brother, but gradually we start to hear things like, oh, let's set up a base in your country, and slowly the United States starts to have access to the country.
Yeah, because like I said, he has not put boots on ground, really. They invade drug ships and all that, they use drones and all that, but they don't have it on ground. As soon as they do that attack, they go back to their base. And they have the African unit, which is in Djibouti, and so definitely they will use those men on ground. But they will not be permanently on ground.
Alex, let me try and call you on WhatsApp, please. Let's try to call you on WhatsApp. It will be much better. I really wouldn't want us to waste this convo providing. All right, so let's just take a minute to see if WhatsApp is going to be the Situation Room on mainland 98.3 FM. We're talking about the aftermath of the bombing in Sokoto, right? And they're starting to scatter into Sokoto. Would it be easier to track these individuals? Do we have enough intelligence to monitor them? Are we going to have a say because they bomb us and we're going to stop attacking them? No, they're probably going to get our own pound of flesh when attacks like this happen. Are we ready? Do we have the structure in place to protect us from when or if they decide to go on a reprisal attack? Our security personnel, do they have the weaponry necessary? It's on the ground, right, to take care of the remaining? So these are the issues that we're raising right now. Well, what steps should security agencies even start taking now that they are on the move? Now that they are moving, do we even have enough into? These are the things we should be asking questions about. Also, how can we truly monitor if ever there comes a time that they want to come in and continue their activities? Can we nip this painful? Because that was like the thing, right? The bombing would happen, or do we just continue to abdicate our responsibility and tell, well, America, since you have sophisticated weapons, just continue helping us bomb the terrorists? At what point do we take over our own security?
For the first topic, when we have Tğᴇ, you talk about assembly member. If the governor send the bill to them, they're in rush to do it. They will. And the assembly member we vote the governor. And that the governor has rights to checkmate the governor. And if this assembly member and the governor, they're always a party. Sure, Samina, whatever the governor sends, the assembly member will surely, if everything has gone wrong, they will pass it, because they have nobody there until 4 years. It shouldn't be everywhere. I've been doing this. The assembly member, the senator, has a race. There's a country say we can record them. But people see this as a long process that it cannot possible. I'm supposed to tell you that it's going to be possible.
All right. Let's take another phone call. Hello. Hello. Okay. We were unable to take that call. Hello.
Yes, the network is so bad.
Yeah, it is actually bad. I'm holding my phone to the microphone right now. Is how I'm even able to talk to you this moment. Yes. So I was asking questions that at what points do we tell America that thank you so much for all the help that you've offered to us, or is this an abdication?
Knowing how America works, they will definitely have a list of bandit leaders that they want to eliminate. Players call. It's more something that will be negotiated. So where bandits might not have been killed as many as we think, then the attacks can stop. But it will be something that will come from the American command. Because as we speak, all their military, the defense headquarters in the US, have already specific bandits and bandit leaders that they want to eliminate. And so with Nigeria, work out the security aspects with Nigeria, make sure civilian casualties are reduced to a minimum, but then the attacks will continue at the rhythm America will fix. Everything will definitely stop sometimes before the American election. It needs to be popular with his foreign policy. So that's something that has not been giving results. It's not as if it's very popular internationally.
We've seen cases that following airstrikes like this, we think that we've seen success, but sometimes radicalization and expansion is often born from a kinetic approach. And some have said that as Trump is taking care of the bombing, maybe as a country we should be focusing on plugging the financing and expansion, because now we've seen a group that would say, well, they're killing us, we need to go back and show them that we're stronger than they are. That's the mindset of the average bandit. We need to show superiority. And so what do we to do now?
Now, I would take that question as a holistic question. It is not just the banditry, because you and I know that insecurity in Nigeria is not just banditry.
Right.
I would have suggested, if I had the occasion to do that to the federal government, to now face the other types of insecurity that we have. What is going on with the southeast insecurity based on secessionist, IPOB, tendencies? What is going on with kidnapping? That is not banditry, not directly. You see what I'm saying? Right. What is going on with religious fanaticism? These are things that are a bit socio-economic in terms of the aspects that they have. The rodents you found in your neighbor, and they're not killing the mosquitoes and all. You still have the problem that you're not safe at home. You see what I'm saying? Holistically speaking. Keeping the security, corruption and social well-being. So these are the things Nigerian government can be doing at the same time, because it's not all about warfare. In fact, aspects can really be strong in that aspect, while they have men on ground. After all, after the bombardment in Iraq, ISIS in Iraq, and they've been existing for over 20 years. So bombardment will not be a final solution. It's just a small aspect of the...
Many had asked question, why Sokoto? I mean, there's Benue, there's Plateau, for example. Kaduna was in Sokoto, and I use my words very carefully. There's insecurity everywhere, but they are not known to be extremely notorious.
No, that is going to come. If I take a wild guess, I would say Sokoto is known in security quarters as a transit zone. It is where most of them pass to come into Nigeria. Very, very fertile zone for let me just call it transnational movement of bandits. So, and then I think he's using Sokoto as just an example. You see what I'm saying? It's a bigger war. It's a bigger warfare. And then there are some of the areas, and then they have to go and bombard an area while you kill Chinese citizens. You minimize banditry. But I'm saying it's a smaller fight to attack Sokoto. In fact, the impact will not be felt. In fact, Nigeria, and then the bandits themselves will a little bit be decided. I mean, yes, the bandits are a bit. It's not as if we have ended banditry just with the one-day bombardment that happened in Cards. This was no. But it is something that Trump should start with. He's being very cautious not to hurt sensitivities around the Sahel region. Don't forget, they are all not to overdo things right now and get into problems. So Trump is being careful. It's unusual of him, but he's being careful. Surely following the advice of his military advisor.
So basically what you're telling us now is that as much as some success was recorded with that airstrike, if we do not handle it properly, we might see more extremism that has happened because of the airstrike.
Yes, definitely, because what the airstrike does is that it creates a vacuum. People have left the camp. But if we as citizens of Nigeria also leave the camp empty, they are going to come back at us. And then there's the aspect we mentioned here earlier, that they would probably one day come out for revenge. If we don't attack them on the ground, what we need to do is to have a special force right now, composed of mainly Nigerians, supervised by Americans, because the economic situation permits them to do so. If you're going to give economically for them, so what are the incentives for them to leave banditry and come and join the Nigerian aspect and be a patron? There are no incentives as we speak. But while you're doing that, make sure they are not able to recruit, because that has to do with the economic situation of the zone, not just Nigeria. The Niger Republic, that aspect of Niger Republic is a very poor zone, the one that is closer to us. So it's not as if it's only Nigeria that has economic problems. There are a lot of economic problems there. Then the Niger Republic has been fighting. We are finding ourselves in the confinement of bandits meeting all in the forest. There's a big meeting of bandits in the forest, and they will definitely find a place to go. They all cannot be together. So it's going to be something explosive if you don't take care of it well. In fact, it could backfire. Bombarding these zones could actually backfire if we don't.
The ones that have been bombed. Thankfully, there was no civilian casualty reported, but we did see debris in farmland. Strikes will continue because Trump says that that's not going to be the last. So, is there something we need to do to prep those who actually live in these communities as the airstrikes continue, if they do continue?
Yes, I can tell you that all those living around Downey Forest, which is where the major attack took place, you know, when the Muslims pray, they gather together as well. When there's a feeling of gatherings, especially during the festive period, because if it's seen by satellite as bandits, the drone will be in. Because no bandit is there as we speak. So I expect the other attacks to go to other parts of Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? So beyond that, I don't expect any other attack on. ISIS is more present in this area, but you have Boko Haram that is more present in Borno, and for now they have not been touched. You see what I'm saying? So everybody in Katsina, in Zamfara should be scared, obviously, because you don't know, mistakes can still happen. There is a percentage of collateral damage can happen, especially when it's 85%, but 15% of imprecision can also mean quite some civilian deaths. So yes, there's a mania of scare out there around the city.
Knowledge that you've impacted today.
Yes, I wish everybody a great success for 2026, and then we hope to have a great...
I did have to hold my phone to the microphone. I told you, by hook or crook, we're going to have this conversation. Yes, technology has nothing on us, and I'm glad that at least we were able to have a significant conversation, however short. Now, this is a security expert who says that we have a one-up. We have immediately come up with a plan to prevent them from being expanded. They will come back for reprisal attack because for some reason they have a off them. They sometimes even feel insulted, right, going to other neighboring countries. But if we leave this vacuum, if we leave this space weaponry, do we have the intelligence to take advantage of this airstrike to manage the security situation? What are we going to do? Are we going to allow the United States helping us with the Tomahawk and the bombing? We are using non-kinetic measures, maybe to block their financing, to arrest those who are sympathizers to this bombing that has happened. Hello, good evening. Hello? Okay. Let's see if we have any messages. 0913600. Yes.
This issue you are discussing, these guys, when they were bombed by the U.S. military bomb, I think we saw videos when some of them were on bike running out of Nigeria. So my question is that when they were running with their bike, where were our Air Force now? I think it will be an apple. I understand. And another thing is that if bike should be banned totally, we do not. Where this thing is taking place, it will be better, because most of the person, when you cut it short, you have demoralized that person. You cut the government should ban bikes from operator. It did not. It will help this
3600430. We spoke about two things. First, the Guardian report where state assembly, are you not asking questions? Are you not scrutinizing the MDAs? Why is it that whatever the governor sends to you is what you send right back, and what is the consequence? And we also spoke about the bombing in Sokoto and the aftermath and the fears that have been raised by experts. Are we going to see more violence with this bombing if we leave the case, this opportunity? Evening to you.
Yeah, this is okay for me, KJ.
Welcome.
Yeah, when you talk about a tree, for instance, you know, if you cut supplies from the taproot to the tree, the branches will all wither out. So what they need to do now is, those financiers, they have to work with the international community, collaborate with them, find out those financiers, because once you get those financiers, as they need. So that's the part me I feel that the Nigerian government really have to work where they go with the local. So once we're able to deal with those financiers, I think we can go a long way in that. Then for our House of Assembly members, they're going in tandem with what they're doing. So that's why they keep doing what they're doing. But I believe by 2027 we're going to change all those narratives. Thank you so much.
All right, we appreciate your insight. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, happy new year. Solution advice is that the governor acknowledge the fact that are these people been dead before? Government should be more. We cannot take care of. We cannot deal with. But because there is sabotage, there is complicity. If we take complicity out of it, and then let there be information, some information from time to time, and proactivity. Let there be Nigeria, not only in Sokoto, Zamfara is there, Adamawa is there, Yobe is there, Borno State is there. Let there be proper because the president of El Salvador said that 10 times powerful than the government does it. And Abacha said that if insurgency lasts for 48 hours, it means the government of the day is coming.
So good evening.
Yes.
This is Timothy calling you from Ojo.
I'm with you. Go ahead, sir.
Indeed. When they were moving, our soldiers are supposed to trace them. If there's sincerity of purpose. Okay, now you are talking about you can see the problem in Nigeria is a foreigner has come to contribute to help us, but we are not willing. That is always our problem because there's no sincerity or purpose to deal with. Somebody also suggested that the sponsors supposed to be dealt with now. We're supposed to hold the sponsors, those who are sponsoring them, hold them seriously. Our own sincerity. There's no sincerity in our part. God will help us. Thank you.
All right.
My name is Ade. I want to...
Mr. Samuel, please, just...
Listen to me. I only talk about the issue of budget.
I said you can talk. I'm saying there's no need for you to pretend to be an Ade. I know who you are.
I said Ade Samuel. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that.
Samuel, you're not Ade. Don't impersonate people.
But before I talk about that, before America interfered, you can remember vividly that Boko Haram, the bandits, they have started taking the part to military formation. They have started it on our own part. Let me quickly remind Nigerians this. When Rubio called him to inform him about the clan attack on Nigeria, and they spoke for several minutes, he told Rubio that he would like to inform Mr. President. So when he informed Mr. President now told him that
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. I'm so sorry. I wish we had time for this entire narration. All right, I'm sorry we don't have the time. But
actually, I am so worried. Why? Because this is a country that has president elected. That and we have to be another country coming in to intervene to help us to in solving governance to deal with this issue of insecurity. Now, like a country that have no, someone who is in charge. Because it worries me. We're supposed to be worried. Another country to be the one, is it that we don't have resources? It's coming forth from that angle. And yet we relax and see that the things are normal. That doesn't have the capacity or competence. I think even in a company, if someone is not delivering, is it not better to resign or you'll be shown the way? I don't know how else to explain this. It's not, we didn't vote for Trump. So handle our issue because the first primary responsibility of anybody elected.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's quite rowdy where you are. Good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Shola.
Yes.
And I'm calling from Ibadan.
Okay.
The president doesn't have a political will. He rode on the back of the powers that be. No, well, it is due to the outcry of the people that even America has its own motive behind it. The next election that they are going to decide it, let it decide that we don't want this president when we be able to change the government. Thank you, have a wonderful day.
I have a better one. This is our last call, and then we read messages. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, I'm the last call. Thank you. Okay, the call. It's wrong direction. How am I saying this? We thought the first attack we go to Zambia is to attack those people who you kill, throw their body, then speaking in faith.
some of them are around in those because immediately they attack that to follow. If they mark like 4 or 5 places, different states, go there at the same time. I'm appointed. I'm a careful. Every Nigeria can be a CEO. Corporate chief, God bless it for you. So I feel happy New Year.
Same to you. Well, that's all the phone beating around the bush. There's no transparency and accountability under this present administration. If not, the corruption that's flowing from the federal down to the state and local. I wonder why any level of government should borrow more than the amount generated as IGR. The most annoying, it passed in no time the budget presented to the House by the executive. Is it not ridiculous that a bulky document like the budget will be speedily passed by the Assembly? Tell me how such budget passed will be of great advantage if our politicians in government have not politicized insecurity. There wouldn't be a need for the U.S. military intervention because our soldiers would have flushed out and destroyed these terrorists and bandits. But all in all, with the support of the U.S. military, I'm sure they will achieve success and win the fight if the saboteurs with fear of not being proactive. After the U.S., I'm wishing you prosperity ahead. Joshua, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We have here Seasons Greeting Mainland FM. Nnamdi for me, those strikes were not rushed or accidental. They were the result of careful planning that had been in the works long before now. It appears that the moves created cover for deeper security. The joint planning between Nigeria and the U.S. The outcome is ISIS terrorists are completely caught off guard. I have to stop the messages here. We have to leave the studio to take the news. I did the best I could to read all the messages. Well, Happy New Year. This is the last episode for the year 20.
This is you're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.